Welcome to the first lecture within the TypeScript course. In this lecture, we will be defining what TypeScript is, why would we want to use it, why is it such a valuable asset to add to our projects, and why would we prefer it over JavaScript and under what circumstances or scenarios. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so I have just finished setting up this nice whiteboard from Lucidcharts, which will allow for definitely neater explanation. And at the end of this session, I will be sharing with you the URL so that you can review the pinpoints that I write down. So let's start with the first yet the most important question here. What is TypeScript? Well, TypeScript is a JavaScript superset, meaning that it is not a part of any JavaScript release. So TypeScript, you can think of it as an extension to JavaScript. An extension that allows us to use optional static typing with JavaScript. Now, if you wonder what static typing is, if you have ever programmed languages like C# or Java or C++, you probably know that declaring variables require assigning types for them. And this is what TypeScript exactly allows us to do. However, in this case, it is optional. So you don't have to explicitly force types onto variables if you don't want to. Moving on to the next question. How does TypeScript work? Well, TypeScript is more than just a JavaScript extension. It's actually a bunch of tools with compilers, transpilers, watchers, and whatnot. But the main task of TypeScript is to transpile TypeScript files to JavaScript files, which means convert TypeScript files to JavaScript files, which allows us to also specify what exact version of JavaScript we want to transpile to. And there's a certain file for TypeScript to specify the compiler option settings. We will be talking about that later. But that's how primarily TypeScript works. And that would bring us to the last but not least question of this lecture. Why would we want to use TypeScript in the first place? Now, I know that many of you out there right now, you're thinking, why would we even use or bring static typing features onto our loosely and dynamically typed language, that is JavaScript? Sounds like pointless, right? More verbose and more hassle. So, well, not really. That is debatable also, because what if I tell you that most of the projects out there, including perhaps some of your forgotten tiny projects that are sitting around the corner, they do carry the potential of growing in complexity and scaling over time and exploding, of course, if you put enough effort on them. So in that case, I bet that you're gonna want to use TypeScript. And that is because TypeScript scales pretty well with your project. And to be able to understand that better, we have to look at the features that enhance the scalability. So, if we look at the whiteboard, the first thing we need to look at is we need to try to reduce errors and bugs at an early stage, as soon as possible, before the runtime stage, possibly at the transpilation phase or even before, maybe through IntelliSense. And that would definitely bring us to the second point, which is save us more time that's spent on development. And of course, because at runtime you will have to debug a lot of errors and all that hassle, so that's way more effort and time spent there. So yeah, it'll save us time. And by the way, you won't be able to catch all kinds of elusive errors and bugs, and that is because there are certain types of logical errors that you can't easily catch at any of these phases, and that's why you would want to use unit testing frameworks for that reason. Now, onto the third point. TypeScript is most likely gonna increase your coding speed with autocompletion and suggestion. And that is because the editor that supports IntelliSense is gonna suggest for you a list of the most fitting suggestions, and that's because it's using the type checking to try to predict the best scenarios for your current usage at the current point of time. So it's gonna be pretty smart at predicting what you want. Therefore, you're gonna see and spot the results way faster, and you're gonna just press Control Space and Enter to choose your option. So that would increase speed definitely. And the final point is that most of the IDEs and editors right now, VS Code editor being on top because it's a highly active project that's being, you can go and check the GitHub repository for it. There's a new update every other day. It's pretty active and it's pretty nice. So this editor supports TypeScript out of the box. You don't need even any extension to get the TypeScript IntelliSense or any of its functionality. Alternatively, you can still use extension for certain editors or IDEs that they don't support it by like natively. So that would be it for this course. That would conclude it for this lecture, and I hope you now know more about TypeScript and the importance of it, and I will see you on the next one.